According to Ian Rappaport, and others have also confirmed this, NFL suspended 5 players, including the Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams, for violations of NFL gambling policy. Lions CJ Moore and Quintez Cephas plus the Commanders Shaka Toney are suspended indefinitely, and it says in parentheses, at least a year. Williams and also Detroit's Stanley Berryhill, who is a wide receiver that hasn't played yet, are suspended 6 games. So CJ Moore and Quintez Cephas suspended at least a year, and it's an indefinite suspension. Jameson Williams and Stanley Berryhill are suspended for 6 games. We don't have any details about this yet, but curious as to why Jameson Williams' suspension is 6 games. Now, let's be real about the other guys. Quintez Cephas probably not making his team. Stanley Berryhill, don't think you're on the team, but these are guys who were probably going to be competing, at least at Berryhill, to try to make a roster, show up at camp and stuff like that. But Jameson Williams, 6 games suspension right now. We don't know the details other than that's what it is, black and white. Huh.
This is a gut punch for me, man.
This really is.
This is like, are you kidding me? Can the Lions not have anything nice? Now, clearly, what Jameson Williams did for the NFL gambling policy is not as bad as what Quintez Cephas did and the other guys, because this is a first-time offense for all these guys, but a few of them are getting 1-year suspensions indefinitely, at least 1-year suspensions. At the end of next season, at the end of 2023 season, they can all apply for reinstatement. Williams and Berryhill are 6 games, so it must have been a lesser extent of gambling, whatever it is.
So Dave Burkett has tweeted out from the Free Press, plenty of details in here, but Jameson Williams was suspended 6 games for gambling on non-NFL games from an NFL facility. And the Lions released 2 others who were found to have bet on NFL games.
All right, so there's the details on why his suspension is less, right?
Right.
So he bet on non-NFL games, but from an NFL facility.
From an NFL facility.
So he's using an app or whatever, and he's bet on basketball, baseball, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, man.
I mean, I don't know. Does the NFL policy allow you to bet on non-NFL games
Yes.
if it's as long as you're not on the NFL property?
Yeah.
I don't know why that even. What does that matter?
They don't want it. It's so hypocritical because then it's live from the MGM seats,
exactly.
you know, like it's
then stop doing
FanDuel, DraftKings. It's everywhere. They're taking money for advertising, but you know the rules though. And when Calvin Ridley did this, and everyone said, "Hey, man, it may be stupid and hypocritical, but you know the rules."
But I get my question again is, so if you're an NFL player, are you allowed to bet on non-NFL games? Are you allowed to bet on non-NFL games? The answer is yes, as long as it's not from an NFL facility.
Yeah, whether it's Allen Park, or in Lions case, Allen Park, Ford Field.
So if I'm sitting at my house and I'm on my chair and I pull out the phone, I got the app and I bet on tonight's Tigers game, I'm okay. But if I happen to go in because the Lions were working out this week and I just got done working out on the bench press, I go, oh, wait a minute, I just remembered I want to bet on this game, and I place a bet. Now I'm suspended 6 games? That is dumb. But
if that's
to
the
your
rules,
point, it's dumb also because you know what the rules are. So this, I'm reacting as this is happening.
Lions can't have anything nice, man.
This is probably the most excited I was about to see a player play in forever, right? You got the bright, shiny thing that you didn't get to really see last year because he was recovering from injury. And the limited times he played, you were glued. Whether you were at the games and just focusing on number 9 on the field, or if you were watching at home, you're trying to figure out, hey, is 9 in there? I mean, this was the most electrifying player we've seen in a long time. We wanted to see him play, and now we don't even get to see him play.
So there's more on this from MLive's Kyle Meinke. So you're probably wondering, did the Lions know about this? How long have they known about this? Did this affect their draft board? Maybe even signing Marvin Jones? According to MLive's Kyle Meinke, Lions staffers on both the football and business sides of the organization were also found in violation of this league's gambling policy. They were fired last month. So at the least, the Lions have known about this for a month. Now, does that mean the Lions are going to draft a receiver at 18? Does that mean, you know...
Oh, it opens up everything now, right?
So they've known for a month that a possible suspension, or most likely a suspension, was coming down.
Here's the official release from the NFL. The NFL confirmed today that 3 players have been indefinitely suspended for violating the league's gambling policy. 2 other players were each suspended 6 games. Quintez Cephas and C.J. Moore of the Detroit Lions and Shaka Toney of the Washington Commanders are suspended indefinitely through at least the conclusion of the 2023 season for betting on NFL games in the 2022 season. These players may petition for reinstatement at the conclusion of the 2023 season. Stanley Berryhill and Jameson Williams of the Lions are suspended for the team's first 6 regular season games of the 2023 season. These players are eligible to participate in all offseason and preseason activities, including preseason games. The suspension will take effect at the final roster cutdown. The gambling policy, which is annually reviewed with all NFL personnel, including players, prohibits anyone in the NFL from engaging in any form of gambling in any club or league facility or venue, including the practice facility. Yeah, at one point, I'm barking hard on guys like Jameson Williams and the other players that know the policy and they violated the policy. And on the other hand, I'm barking hard at the NFL for the ridiculous hypocrisy it is that you're allowing them to bet. There's a bunch of hypocrisy. You're allowing them to bet on non-sports, but they just can't do it from the facility. The other giant hypocrisy is that the league revenues are generated largely by the gambling companies. As you mentioned, DraftKings and BetMGM and all these other ones out there, right? And PointsBet and PointBet, whatever it is. The venues like Ford Field and other stadiums throughout the NFL, they're littered with this stuff. They're presented by these companies. So it sends mixed messages to everybody that, hey, you can gamble, but you can't gamble here. Well, then why am I looking over there at this giant lion logo? That's not the angry lion with the tooth, but it's this gold and black lion that I'm seeing. What is that?
Well, everyone in the stadium is allowed to bet, but you. They're going to have kiosks. There's,
right.
Things like they're building sports books in stadiums, literally. And so it's definitely hypocrisy, but also we go back to the point, unfortunately, though, these guys know the rules.
They know the rules.
They know the rules. You cannot. Why? C.J. Moore, by the way, Cephas and C.J. Moore immediately got cut from the team, okay? When the Lions found out, they cut those guys from the team. C.J. Moore just got a $2.5 million guarantee this spring to come back to the team. He's gone.
Brad Holmes has released a statement. He says, as a result of an NFL investigation, it came to our attention that a few of our players had violated the league's gambling policy, said Detroit Lions Vice President and General Manager Brad Holmes. These players exhibited decision-making that is not consistent with our organizational values and violates league rules. We have made the decision to part ways with Quintez and CJ immediately. We are disappointed by the decision-making demonstrated by Stanley and Jameson and will work with both players to ensure they understand the severity of these violations and have clarity on the league rules moving forward. So again, so people understand, in the NFL, you can't bet on NFL games. If you do, you're suspended indefinitely, which is what has happened with C.J. Moore and Quintez Cephas. And indefinitely means it starts with a 1-year suspension. That's a Calvin Ridley faced. In the NFL, if you want to bet on anything other than NFL games, you're open to it. You want to bet on Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, have at it. As long as you don't do it in an NFL venue or facility. And this is the problem that happened with Jameson Williams. That he apparently was betting on non-NFL games from an NFL facility.
And we know he was hurt for most of last year, so, I mean, he wasn't warming up with the rest of the team and things like that. He probably had a little more free time on his hands, maybe his phone with him. Who knows when he did this, whether it was during practice or he was rehabbing or before a game, but he knows better. And this sucks. This, as a Lion fan, this is absolute gut punch. I could not wait to see him play what we thought was going to be a full season of Jameson Williams. And now how does this affect the draft? We mentioned, does a receiver open at 18? Does this take Jalen Carter off the board at 6?
But because they don't want to
we got
worry
character
about that.
issues, things like that.
Does this put more of an emphasis on, you know what, we need to boost the offense now? You know, people that want to Bijan Robinson, does that come into play more? And like you said, the receiver. I mean, you have to think that's 6 games. That's not like, oh, he's out for a week with a flu. Dave Burkett says, needless to say, big ramifications for the season. Williams will miss a good chunk of the season for the second straight year. The Lions might need to target a wide receiver somewhere in the draft. And after cutting C.J. Moore, who got $2.5 million guaranteed this spring, they need safety and special teams help. This is not good news for the Lions. Those just tuning in, Jameson Williams has been suspended for 6 games for violating the league's gambling policies. He gambled on non-NFL games from an NFL facility. That's against the rules. That got him suspended for 6 games. Had he gambled from his house on non-NFL games, he'd be fine. But he knew the policy, violated the policy. Now he's suspended for 6 games. So now what, Detroit? Now what do you do?